Making headlines this hour, Indian High Commissioner to the Maldives says the future of economic relations between the Maldives and India will be driven by opportunities in financial technology and renewable energy. President of the Elections Commission of the Maldives says building a constructive relationship between the Commission and the Maldives political parties is the first step towards ensuring the Commission functions as an independent institution. And MIRA says revenue collected in June exceeded projections by 14.7%, driven by higher tax receipts from the tourism and banking sectors.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Mariam Shaushat. Indian High Commissioner to the Maldives, G. Balasubramaniam, says the future of economic relations between the Maldives and India will be driven by opportunities in financial technology and renewable energy. Speaking on the Trade Desk podcast, produced by the Ministry of Economic Development, Transport and Trade, High Commissioner G. Balasubramaniam said Indian companies have already made significant investments in the Maldives, particularly in the tourism and agriculture sectors. He said an Indian company is currently undertaking agricultural projects in Ba Atoll, while another Indian company is expected to launch a new investment in the Maldives later this year. Balasubramaniam said Indian investments in the tourism sector continues to expand, with 6 or 7 Indian companies currently developing new resorts in the Maldives. He added that the next phase of economic cooperation between the two countries would extend beyond tourism and agriculture to include financial technology or fintech and renewable energy. The High Commissioner said the future lies in financial technology, energy supply and the renewable energy sector. He noted that India is working closely with the Maldivian government and Payment Maldives to establish fintech systems such as the Unified Payments Interface or UPI in the Maldives. Speaking about efforts to strengthen bilateral trade, the High Commissioner said work is underway to finalize a bilateral investment treaty aimed at protecting investments in both countries. He added that discussions on a bilateral free trade agreement or an FTA have also begun, with the terms of reference already signed. The High Commissioner said while a free trade agreement already exists under the SAARC framework, both countries are now working towards a bilateral agreement at a South Asian Free Trade Area or SAFTA Plus level. He said the agreement would help address barriers faced by Maldivian and Indian businesses in exporting goods and services. Furthermore, the High Commissioner noted that the Maldives provides tourism services to India worth between 300 million and 400 million US dollars each year. He added that there is significant potential for further growth in the sector. He also said Maldivian tuna exports currently enter the Indian market duty-free and expressed confidence that the proposed agreement would create additional opportunities for cross-border trade in goods and services. President of the Elections Commission of the Maldives, Mohammad Shakil, says building a constructive relationship between the Elections Commission of the Maldives, ECM, and political parties is the first step towards ensuring the Commission functions as an independent institution. Speaking to PSM News, Shakil said maintaining positive working relationships with both the ruling party and the opposition would enable the Elections Commission to fulfill its constitutional responsibilities effectively and make well-informed decisions. Shakil said he hopes to foster cooperation with political parties within a healthy democratic environment during his tenure. Emphasizing that the Constitution entrusts the Commission with significant responsibilities, he said he would carry out those duties with the utmost sincerity. He added that he would prioritize engagement with political parties and ensure their views are heard. He noted that every decision taken by the Commission affects the interests of political parties. He said maintaining constructive relationships with all parties is essential to making decisions that command broad agreement and strengthen confidence in the Commission. Shakil said the Commission's ability to fulfill its constitutional responsibilities also depends on the dedication of its staff. He said the Elections Commission's success would be built on collective teamwork and added that ensuring transparency in the Commission's work would remain one of his key priorities. He added that as the regulatory body responsible for overseeing political parties, maintaining a positive relationship between the Commission and the political parties would contribute to greater stability in the country's political landscape. Shakil said the Commission would consult all political parties on matters affecting them, regardless of their size. He added that a structured consultation schedule would be introduced to better understand the concerns and priorities of political parties. He also said he would work with political parties to ensure their activities are conducted in accordance with socially acceptable ethical standards and are well received by the public. He added that the Commission would ensure all political parties are provided with equal opportunities to carry out their political activities. Shakil assumed office on 1st July. He previously served as a member of the Elections Commission from 3rd December 2014 to 9th May 2018. Before that, he served as the Commission's Director General from 1st September 2013 to 3rd December 2014. The government is implementing a number of regional projects to provide a long-term solution to waste management challenges across the Maldives. Speaking to PSM News, Deputy Minister at the Ministry of Climate Change, Environment and Energy, Ahmad Nizam said the main construction of the Addu waste-to-energy plant had already been completed. He said the facility has the capacity to process 50 tons of waste a day and generate 1.5 megawatts of electricity. Nizam said the plant alone was not sufficient to operate a fully functional regional waste management centre. He noted that work was underway to develop the additional infrastructure needed to enable the facility to operate at full capacity with financial assistance from the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development. Based on the current progress of the project, he said the facility is expected to begin operations in 2028. Nizam said the project is expected to be completed around the middle of 2028, allowing the facility to begin operations. He explained that although the waste-to-energy plant itself is structurally complete, it cannot yet be operated because the additional components required to make the facility fully functional, including the landfill and waste sorting facility, are still under development. He added that once those components are completed, the project will function as a complete integrated waste management system. The waste-to-energy plant, which converts waste into electricity through incineration, was completed in Addu in 2023 at a cost of $16 million, funded through the Maldives Green Fund. The government has decided to operate the facility through public-to-private partnership or PPP. However, the Environment Ministry said several legal and regulatory procedures must be completed before the project can be handed over to a private operator. As a result, no date has yet been set for the transfer of operations. The Maldives has one of the highest obesity rates relative to its population size and is among the countries with a high prevalence of diabetes. Combined with increasingly sedentary lifestyle, these factors have contributed to a growing burden of cardiovascular disease across all age groups. For many years, heart disease was one of the leading reasons patients were referred overseas for treatment. Many lives were also put at risk because emergency cardiac procedures, including treatment for heart attacks, were not available in the country. That situation was changed significantly over the past decade. Despite the challenges of establishing specialized cardiac services, the Maldives this year marks a decade since cardiac care was introduced under the Asanda Universal Health Insurance Scheme. Since the National Cardiac Center was established in 2016, it has been providing advanced cardiac care to patients from across the country. Today, the center offers a wide range of specialized services, including treatment for complications caused by coronary artery disease, coronary angiography, coronary stenting, closure of congenital heart defects and pacemaker implantation for patients with abnormal heart rhythms. It also provides advanced diagnostic imaging to assess blood vessels, detect fatty deposits around the heart and perform procedures to restore blood flow through blocked arteries. Speaking about the centre's ongoing development, Dr. Mohammad Shaniz says new equipment will further enhance the quality of care available to patients. Dr. Mohammad Shaniz said the latest versions of intravascular ultrasound or IVUS and optical coherence tomography known as OCT are expected to arrive this year with the direct support of the government and President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu. The National Cardiac Centre has also established a dedicated pacemaker clinic to provide specialized follow-up care for patients with implanted devices. The clinic monitors pacemaker battery life, ensures devices are functioning properly and adjusts programming where necessary. Between 500 and 600 patients receive care through the clinic each year. As demand for cardiac services continues to grow, work is underway to expand the centre's capacity by providing additional space. At the same time, the National Cardiac Centre is decentralizing cardiac services by strengthening regional hospitals. As part of these efforts, advanced cardiac treatment has been introduced in Addu city, marking the first time major cardiac services have been made available outside Male. Work is continuing to further expand services in the southern city. From its beginnings amid considerable challenges, the National Cardiac Centre has evolved into one of the Maldives' most advanced specialized healthcare facilities. Its establishment has significantly reduced the number of patients needing overseas cardiac treatment while improving access to life-saving care within the country. Maldives Immigration says electronic passport services will resume early next month following a temporary suspension caused by delays in the import of passport booklets. The service was suspended in May after delays in the shipment of the passport booklets required to issue ordinary electronic passports. Speaking to PSM News, Controller General of Immigration Ahmad Fasih said the materials required to produce the passports have now been ordered. He said the shipment is expected to arrive by the end of this month or early next month, with the service set to resume as soon as the supplies are received. The electronic passport enables holders to use e-gate facilities, allowing travelers to complete immigration clearance without waiting in queues. In addition to the information stored on the passport's embedded electronic chip, the e-gate system verifies the holder's identity using facial recognition or fingerprint authentication. Following the suspension of the e-passport service, Maldives Immigration began issuing ordinary non-electronic passports to all applicants seeking ordinary passports. The non-electronic passport is also a machine-readable travel document that complies with International Civil Aviation Organization or ICAO standards and is issued with a validity of 5 years. The fee for an ordinary electronic passport is $64.85, while a non-ordinary electronic passport costs $38.91. Maldives Immigration also said that unlike previous occasions when similar circumstances arose, holders of ordinary non-electronic passports will be allowed to upgrade to an ordinary electronic passport before the document expires without being required to pay a cancellation fee. Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development hands over repair work on sections of Amini Magu to the Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC as the government moves to address extensive damage to several roads in Male. The asphalt surface on several sections of Amini Magu, which was paved under the previous administration, has lifted unevenly, leaving parts of the road in poor condition. The western section of the road has sustained the most significant damage. The Housing Ministry said the contract to repair Amini Magu, Izzuddin Magu and Boddakurfanu Magu was awarded to MTCC on 15th June. The ministry said MTCC is currently making preparations to begin the repair work as soon as possible. The ministry added that alongside the road repairs, the project will also include modifications to pavement designs in areas where bus stops are located. The damaged sections of Amenimagu form segments 11 and 12 of the road development project, which were completed and opened to traffic in September 2023. The ministry noted that repair work was also carried out early last year on part of the asphalt surface on the westbound lane near the Mafanu Stadium area. Despite the repairs, the asphalt deteriorated again within a short period, becoming uneven and causing significant inconvenience to motorists. Technical experts said the damage resulted from the road being open to traffic before the asphalt had fully cured after being laid. They said this caused the affected lane to deteriorate rapidly. The Amenimagu development project, undertaken by the previous administration at a cost of 84.4 million rupiah, involved resurfacing approximately 1.79 kilometers of the road with asphalt. The project was fully completed in January 2024. The Maldives Inland Revenue Authority (MIRA) says revenue collected in June exceeded projections by 14.7%, driven by higher tax receipts from the tourism and banking sectors. MIRA said it collected $124.51 million in revenue during June. The authority said this was 14.7% higher than projected and represented a 10.1% increase compared with the same month last year. According to MIRA, the stronger than expected performance was mainly driven by higher collections from goods and services tax, bank income tax, green tax, airport development fee and departure tax. The authority also noted that tourist arrivals in May were 1.77% higher than forecast, resulting in increased revenue from tourism-related taxes and fees. MIRA said one-off payments, including corporate social responsibility or CSR, fees, resort lease extension fees, and lane sale and transfer fees also contributed to the increase in revenue during the month. The authority said 14.3% of the total revenue collected in June consisted of payments relating to previous tax period. It added that 23.4% of the month's revenue was recovered through efforts to collect outstanding dues. Compared with June last year, revenue growth in June 2026 was mainly driven by higher collections from goods and services tax, bank income tax and income tax paid by corporate and other non-individual entities. Russia introduces a ban on diesel exports as a part of a raft of measures to support the domestic fuel market after systematic Ukrainian drone attacks on oil refineries triggered shortages and price spikes in some regions.
Drivers in many regions are facing hours-long lines of refuel as intensifying Ukrainian strikes on Russian energy infrastructure squeeze supplies of diesel and gasoline. Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak told a televised government meeting that the fuel situation remained complex and that it is clear that the current situation at filling stations is causing concern among the public. The government said the ban, which includes producers of the fuel, will be in place until July 31st. Benchmark European diesel margins LCOC1 rose to record $60.17 per barrel after Russia banned exports. In June, Turkey and Brazil remained the dominant buyers, together absorbing at least half of the available cargoes, shipping data shows. Russia's exports of seaborne diesel and gas oil exports had already plunged in June, collapsing by 39% from the previous month to around 1.8 million metric tons and falling 46% from 3.35 million tons in the same month a year ago. Beyond the main buyers, Morocco, Egypt and Senegal also emerged as major importers of Russian diesel cargoes in June, shipping data shows.
The United Nations top humanitarian official Tom Fletcher tells Reuters that the disaster caused by the consecutive earthquakes with magnitudes of 7.2 and 7.5 would be incredibly difficult for any government in the world to manage.
The United Nations is aiming to reach 1.3 million people in the next 6 months who are most critically in need of humanitarian support. Authorities raised the death toll to 3,889, while the number of injured remained at 16,740.
It's very hard to say. I mean, so we try and keep figures on the numbers killed, numbers injured, numbers displaced, but this is an incredibly chaotic situation. So you'd have to ask the government about how they source their figures. We try, through the coordination cell we have with them, to try and exchange all the data that we can do so that we can keep track not just of those who've lost their lives, but of those who are in need right now. And for us, that's the most important figure, is who needs our humanitarian support in the period ahead. And that's how we got to 1.3 million who need that help over the next 6 months.
Asked whether these government's casualty figures were reliable, Fletcher said it was very hard to say given the incredibly chaotic nature of the disaster. While residents have criticized a slow state response, Fletcher said a UN coordination cell established with the government has been working well to facilitate international aid. The UN has already mobilized over $300 million in coordinated support, Fletcher said, adding that nearly 40,000 people have already received food aid in the 2 weeks since the response began. The UN is also deploying teams to provide psychosocial support to survivors, particularly women and children.
Gavin Williams struck out 11 and the Cleveland Guardians hit 3 solo home runs in a 5-2 win over the Minnesota Twins.
Williams allowed 2 runs on 3 hits over 7 innings, snapping a 5-start winless streak. Gabriel Arias, Chase DeLauter and Patrick Bailey each homered for Cleveland, and Brian Rocchio added a 2-run double in the 7th as the Guardians ended a 4-game skid. Royce Lewis scored on an RBI single in the 5th and homered in the 7th for Minnesota, whose 4-game winning streak was snapped. Cade Smith closed it out for his major league leading 27th save. Kendry Rogers took the loss in relief of Bailey Ober, who allowed 1 run over 5 innings in his return from the injured list.
A Swiss humanoid robot capable of displaying the faces of world leaders and business executives was on display at the AI for Good Global Summit as developers showcased how artificial intelligence could make human-machine interactions more natural.
Robert the Robot, developed by Geneva-based startup RB Labs, appeared with the likenesses of US President Donald Trump, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg and former US President Barack Obama projected onto a digital screen that serves as its face. Unlike many humanoid robots with fixed expressionless features, Robert uses a screen to display different identities and emotions, allowing it to smile, react, and communicate non-verbally with users. Robert was presented to visitors attending the United Nations-backed AI for Good Summit, where attendees stopped to take photographs and interact with the machine. The robot's digital face can be changed instantly, enabling it to mimic different people while clearly remaining a robot. Creme Brokers said the company was not clearly trying to create perfect replicas of real people. He said it's likely a robot, it's just a face that displays the likeness of another person. RB Labs, founded in Geneva by Metodi Dimitrov, Robin Creme Brokers and Linde Hisu, introduced Robert in 2025 as part of its work exploring conversational AI and humanoid interfaces for educational, commercial and public engagement applications. The robot has previously appeared at technology events in Switzerland, the United States and the Middle East. Also on display at the summit, researchers from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne demonstrated robotic furniture designed to assist elderly people and those with limited mobility. The project features tables and other household items mounted on mobile robotic platforms that can move autonomously around a room. Users can rearrange layouts through a tablet interface or request furniture to clear a path through cluttered spaces. The concept stems from research into mobile assistive agents that allow furniture to follow users, fetch objects, or reorganize itself to suit changing needs. Teng said the goal was to improve people's quality of life rather than replace workers.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Have a good day. Goodbye.
බෝඩ කපු වරක් පෝරි ගදවාන මේ වර පොලිමි කියන්නේ බෝඩ කපුවම පෝරි ගදක
කදේමෙන් දෙමිවුණ හම සාබස්සිගේ මමිවුණනි කදේමගේ පාහතුන් නේරිගෙන් දෙමියුන් හුරියාර බිරු පාතක්කමෙන් අලනි කනාතක්කමෙන් අලනි දෙමියුන් කරමියකු වාහක දක්කමුන් දක්කමුගස් එහා මුහිම වාහකේ වෙජ්ජා ගේතරේගේ මේසෙක්කාර ඉත්තාලයාගෙන් ගොඩියක ඉත්තාලයන් වාහක දක්කම් මීනු हम සෑකලු ගම තිදනි රාරාගුණි එහෙන් ගම මෙහර තිත් දෙමිහුන්න සම රංගලන් ඉංගේනදෝ එත බයක රටතරේක දුබ්බන් චෙහෙක එකි ගෝලි තකු එමෙ හුරියා එම්මෙ සඳාන් කොරම්බි කාරිගේ තින් සපන් හතර සපන් හදාන රටතරේක නුදුබ්බම්බි පහත් එකක එකක ලයින් හදාගේ රීච දියා මික නිමුනිනු පස්සේ වාංගොයි කමෙන්නු
Pele.
I gotta go Ronaldo.
Iniesta.
Roberto. Kylian Mbappé. Messi.
How could you not be excited?